They're back. The seditious six is now seven. They've got a new member, Senator Jeff Merkley. He didn't like Trump's Easter message to Iran, so he's telling our men in uniform to go AWOL. Quote, to our military leaders, remember this. You are legally required to refuse orders to commit war crimes. So what's a war crime? Alyssa Slotkin, one of the original six, says it's as simple as turning off the enemy's lights. The Times agrees.
Are you concerned that your threat to bomb power plants and bridges amount to war crimes?
No. I hope I don't have to do it. Mentally, these are disturbed people. If you think I'm going to allow them, and powerful and rich, to have a nuclear weapon, you can tell your friends at the New York Times, not going to happen.
If knocking out power is a war crime, Bill Clinton should be in The Hague. Slick Willie obliterated Serbia's power grid back in '99. Both the Bushes did it in Iraq. Lyndon Johnson hit a few power plants in North Vietnam. It was called Operation Rolling Thunder. These targets are selected as humanely as possible, considering dual-use systems and the law of proportionality. But the goal of war is to win. We aren't hitting their water, hospitals, or hotels. That's what Iran is doing to our allies. Remember, these aren't civilian power plants. The Guard runs them and gets dibs on the power. So hitting that type of target hurts the military and their ability to fight back. The ceasefire terms are simple. They have to open up the strait and knock off their nukes.
Patriots, I'm at Restored Republic via a GCR update for Tuesday, April the 7th, 2026, compiled by Judy Byington. 7 Trumpet EBS alerts to sound out on every phone across the planet, announcing temporary worldwide martial law, and 10 days of communication darkness. Banks, ATMs, internet shut down, phones, emergency calls only. Be prepared. Stock food, cash, essentials. Judy note, on Monday, April 6, 2026, the U.S. Army Special Forces raided over 200 Hollywood mansions, going inside homes of the biggest names in Hollywood. Luxury gates were smashed. Hidden basement elevators descended into personal dumb tunnels that connected to the Mount Rushmore master map. They arrested the heart of the deep state. With the mass arrests now in full force, a financial tsunami and global lockdown with temporary martial law appeared imminent. The new gold asset-backed quantum financial system was set to wipe out the Rothschild central banking system that was based on child sacrifice and child sex trafficking so prominent in Hollywood. Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citibank could soon be offline with your bank account. Balance zero, bank card declined, ATMs and bank apps not working. It is advised to withdraw your bank account monies out now. This worldwide financial collapse had been coming for a long time. Dutch banker Ronald Bernard had reached the highest levels of the Illuminati, crashed national economies, bankrupt companies, and was an expert at money laundering. As with most involved in international banking, he was involved in a satanic cult. until while at a party he was asked to sacrifice a child. It was then he turned into a heroic whistleblower, exposing the dark secrets of our global financial system. Just prior to his suspicious death, Bernard did a series of TV interviews uncovering the Illuminati pyramid of power. He had a simple explanation of how it functioned. They used child sacrifices to test and blackmail members. And there's a link to a video of his interviews. It was not surprising that Bernard did not survive after laying bare illegal activities of the international banking system. His satanic group, the Ninth Circle Child Sacrifice Cult, was powerful, complicated, centuries old, based on pedophilia and blackmail for political power, organized by Vatican and funded by U.S. taxpayer dollars, funneled through the CIA, NASA, U.S. Inc., Queen's Bank of London, and Vatican Bank to central banks across the globe. With nefarious activities enforced by various mafias who ran international child exploitation, kidnapping, murder, adrenochrome, and organ harvesting, drug and gun running rings. In the late 1700s, the Rothschild dynasty built banking empires across Europe by financing both sides of wars. They profited massively from debt while seizing control over governments and economies. They now dominate modern central banks, extracting wealth from Americans via inflation and endless debt. At the core of their success lies dark satanic rituals where they sacrifice children to Satan, harvest their adrenochrome, and consume their flesh in a satanic pact to gain power, glory, and renewed control over world finances and politics. U.S. Department of Justice files and whistleblowers have confirmed that Ariane de Rothschild, head of the Edmund de Rothschild Bank, had deep ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein's trafficking network was ruled by the Vatican Illuminati and accounted for millions of missing children yearly. The Vatican Illuminati Epstein child sex trafficking network, also known as the Ninth Circle Satanic Cult, supplied the Rothschild family and other global elites, including U.S., U.K., Canadian, and Australian politicians, with young victims, whom they tortured to maximize fear, extracting adrenaline-rich blood and consuming flesh in honor of Satan. The Vatican, Washington, D.C., Ukraine, and Palestine were considered the child sex trafficking, adrenochrome, and organ harvesting capitals of the world. The Vatican's human trafficking was housed in sophisticated underground tunnels beneath the Vatican, Washington, D.C., Ukraine, and Palestine, and then stretched for thousands of miles under seas and continents across the globe. The tunnels were connected to every major city on Earth, even lay beneath Capitol Hill and the White House, and were equipped with rail systems, living quarters, and illegal bioweapon labs. Tortured children were also put in submarines, sneaking to Biden-owned Water Island that lay next door to Epstein's pedophile island and other islands, including one owned by Oprah Winfrey. All was believed part of an extensive ring of Satan-worshipping, child-sacrificing pedophile elite network that trafficked children captured in war or disasters, kidnapped from the streets, caught at the border. A dumb child sex trafficking tunnel was recently found running from El Paso, Texas, to Ciudad Juarez, Mexico. Or perpetrators simply produced their own. The children were used for adrenochrome production, highly sought after and very expensive blood of traumatized child, human experiments, child sacrifice to their god Satan, or sexual pleasures of the political and global elite that were then videotaped and used to blackmail the perpetrators to do the bidding of the Illuminati. The perpetrators were powerful and high up on the elite scale. MS-13 members were being used as foot soldiers to traffic children for our corrupt elected bureaucrats. The Obamas, Clintons, Biden, Epstein, Prince Andrew, and fellow elites all have worshipped Satan and pedophilia, torture, and child sacrifice in tunnels beneath the White House. There was evidence that Nobel Peace Prize recipient Mother Teresa, Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz, Prince Andrew, Kevin Spacey, and multiple other global and political elites were involved in child sex trafficking. In 2010, Obamacare was allegedly designed to facilitate this international child trafficking ring by tracking potential victims targeted for use of the elites. Trump's global military alliance has been directing special forces from 22 nations in the largest military operation in human history to put an end to child trafficking. Beginning in October 2019 and ongoing even today, the Alliance has held coordinated raids on the massive network of tunnels and bioweapon labs across the world to rescue child victims. On Wednesday, October 16, 2019, an unbelievable 2,100 children being held in cages in underground tunnels at the California China Lake Military Facility in California were rescued by 10,000 Navy SEALs and U.S. Marines. The children and teens were said to have been sexually abused, tortured, and killed to collect their adrenaline. Since then, raids on underground dump tunnels with illegal U.S.-owned bioweapon labs have been held by Trump's global military alliance around the world, with millions of tortured children rescued, many more found deceased. By March 30th, 2020, during the so-called COVID crisis, the hospital ships USNS Comfort and USNS Mercy were deployed to New York and Los Angeles. Central Park in New York City had a field hospital erected overnight. Nurses and doctors confessed they were not for COVID as advertised, but for disoriented, tortured, abused, and malnourished children brought up from the tunnels beneath New York and LA. Many were born in the tunnels and had never seen sunlight. The same time as the raids, earthquakes were reported in areas with no seismic history. 2.5 to 4.0 magnitude tremors in Virginia, New York, Colorado, and beneath the White House itself. The so-called earthquakes were said to be the Alliance destroying the tunnels. By February 2022, the Russian military entered Ukraine and began rescuing children from underground dump tunnels and U.S. bioweapon labs. One tunnel lay beneath Biden's 200-acre property in Ukraine. The initial rescue operations uncovered over 100 tortured children, jailed in bioweapon labs for adrenochrome extraction, though the operation grew over the next 4 years into rescuing tens of thousands of badly abused children. Putin's motives in going into Ukraine, a country which still a part of Russia, appeared to be to free Ukrainian citizens, rescue kidnapped children and other children produced at Zelensky's torturous baby farms, and destroy U.S. illegal bioweapon labs, which were producing a virus designed to kill the Russian people. In other words, he was kicking the deep state globalist NATO out of his own province of Ukraine. Despite what the globalist paid fake mainstream media has reported, Putin actually won the Ukraine war a while ago. Yet billions of U.S. taxpayer dollars were still pouring into Ukraine. What for? Noted journalist Tucker Carlson explained. Russian soldiers talk of rescuing hundreds of young children out of underground tunnels where thousands of other children and babies have been slaughtered like cattle to harvest their organs or sold into an international child sex trafficking ring. Putin found that Zelensky's main money source, other than the $40 billion U.S. taxpayer dollars laundered through Ukraine, was the child sex trafficking, adrenochrome and organ harvesting torturous baby farms in Ukraine underground tunnels, which included Biden's own child sex trafficking underground tunnel that ran through his 40-acre Ukrainian property. Doge audits have uncovered that millions in U.S. taxpayer dollars were given to the mass media, including the New York Times and Reuters, to promote a leftist agenda that included the cover-up of child sex trafficking, especially in Washington, D.C. Child sex trafficking has been going on for a very long time in Washington, D.C. It was used to blackmail politicians to do the cabal's bidding and keep U.S. taxpayer monies under their control. There was video evidence that hundreds of naked children were being held in underground tunnels that ran beneath Washington, D.C., Epstein Island, and major cities across the U.S. In 2020, JAG rescued hundreds of tortured children from tunnels that ran under Capitol Hill. The front page of the June 29, 1989 Washington Times read, "Homosexual Prostitution Inquiry Ensnares VIPs with Ronald Reagan, George Bush Sr. callboys who took midnight tours of White House. FBI agents and NYPD officers attempted to bring charges against Hillary Clinton and Huma Abedin after video evidence was discovered of the two skinning the face of a young girl whom they tortured to death. but the FBI and New York detectives were prevented from taking their evidence to court by their higher-ups. All detectives involved were later found suicided, or shall we say arkancided. There were emails proving U.S. President Barack Obama paid $65,000 in U.S. taxpayer monies for young children to be brought to the White House for a child sex party with elites and politicians, including Hillary Clinton and Ben Affleck. The Clinton Foundation received $88 million from Australian taxpayers. At the same time, evidence surfaced that Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman, John Podesta, and his brother Tony Podesta, plus Welsh-born Australian ALP Prime Minister Julia Gillard, were connected to the kidnapping of the British child, Madeleine McCann. Clinton's pedogate was discredited as fake news by the mainstream media despite NBC's June 11, 2013 televised report regarding Hillary Clinton using her position as U.S. Secretary of State to cease an investigation into child trafficking within the State Department. And these are the sources. We have November 29, 2025, AMG News, Judy Byington bombshell report. European royals killing naked children for fun at human hunting parties, child sacrifice and trafficking in Holland. An eyewitness speaks out. Monday, April 6, massive operation. Over 200 Hollywood mansions raided by U.S. military. Human trafficking files, dirty money, and hard drives seized inside elite homes. That's a Gazette teller. March 10, 2025, Byington bombshell report. Putin invaded Ukraine to destroy illegal U.S. bioweapon labs, rescue tortured children. March 5, 2025, Byington bombshell report. U.S. Center of Child Sex Trafficking. Over 500 migrant children delivered to pedophiles. Former ICE Director Tom Homan. February 15, 2025, bombshell report. Washington, D.C. is the child sex trafficking capital of the world. January 25th, Byington bombshell report, world's largest sting operation in progress. Mass arrests in over 32 countries to save the children. April 26, 2021, boom, Judy Byington bombshell report, Obama, Biden, Clinton, Pelosi, White House pedophile ring uncovered by WikiLeaks. AMG News. Friday, March 1st, child sacrifice, pedophilia in global banking system, before it's news. And Saturday, October 19th, 2019, Marines, Navy SEALs rescue 2,100 caged children and teens, before it's news. EBS Martial Law, 10 Days of Darkness. Judy note, some say the EBS would be here tomorrow, Tuesday, April 7th. Some say in 2 days, or by Saturday, April 18th, or by Friday, May 1st. They all say soon. The EBS will announce a world financial collapse, martial law, and 48-hour communication blackout would occur, complete with worldwide lockdown with no internet, bank, ATMs, phones, and 10 days of darkness. 7 trumpets will sound on our cell phones across the planet to announce a whopping 50,000 military troops have been mobilized to ensure EBS mandates. Monday, April 6, 2026, the EBS alert countdown has begun. To martial law, EBS test signals have been confirmed in multiple regions. Stay vigilant for activation. No exact timeline is public, but secure briefings indicate readiness. Prepare for a 48-hour communication blackout, along with lockdown. No more deep state censorship. No more fake news feeds. Only documentaries expounding truth across every TV, radio, and internet broadcast worldwide. Expect 10 days of media silence as the military control communications and spit out emergency broadcasts revealing everything. This will be a time of communications reset, with cell towers neutralized as weapons, banking system frozen, and ATMs, credit, and debit cards not working. 7 trumpet EBS alerts to sound out on every phone across the planet, announcing temporary worldwide martial law, 10 days of communication darkness, internet shutdown, ATMs, banks offline, phones, emergency calls only. Be prepared. Stock food, cash essentials. Saturday, April 18th, when the EBS activates, do not be afraid, be ready. There will come a moment very soon. April 18th, 2026, when every screen in the world displays the same message. Your phone, your television, your computer, all of them simultaneously. The emergency broadcast system will activate, not for a hurricane, not for an earthquake, for the truth. For 72 hours, the world will receive a continuous stream of declassified information, the real history of the last 100 years, the crimes committed against humanity by those who claim to protect it, the technology that was stolen from you, the financial system that enslaved you, all of it, unfiltered, undeniable, and unstoppable. Some people will panic. That is expected. A lifetime of programming does not dissolve in an hour. But you will not panic because you already know. You have been preparing for this moment. Every time you read a post on this channel, every time you shared the truth when it was unpopular, every time you trusted your instincts over their narrative. When the EBS goes live, your role is simple. Be the calm in the storm. Be the person your family turns to. Be the one who says, I told you and now I will help you understand. The old world ends with a broadcast. The new world begins with you. Global Currency Reset on Wednesday, April 1st, 2026. The Global Currency Reset and Nisar laws activated across 209 nations, erasing debts, ending IRS, launching prosperity funds, and wiping out all illegitimate debts from the deep state bankers. Trump's sovereign U.S. Treasury note replaced the collapsed Federal Reserve dollar. No more income taxes, only tariffs and fair sales tax. The cabal's financial empire crumbles as the gold-backed QFS goes live. Tuesday, February 2026, Bruce the Big Call. Military sources now said that April 6th, 7th, Monday, Tuesday were now possible notification dates for Tier 4B to set their exchange appointments. People with ZIM were to obtain their MedBed appointments starting Thursday the 9th, Friday the 10th, Saturday the 11th of April. Official Redemption Center is opening first week of April 2026. Full GESARA protocol activated. Donald J. Trump office on Telegram. The countdown is over. Redemption schedules are now being filled with authorized participants. The infrastructure is live. What happens inside a redemption center? Biometric verification, complete identity sovereignty, asset-backed rates, legacy currency, ZIM Dinar Dong, exchanged into digital value, quantum card activation linked to your sovereign wallet on XRP Ledger, XRPL, instant access, borderless funds 24/7, secure, debt clearance plus wealth management plus project funding, full post-exchange onboarding. Access is strictly controlled, no walk-ins.
It's a celebration. Celebrate good times. Come on. Celebrate. Celebrate good times. Come on.
Monday, April 6th, final phase activated, no turning back, confirmed. Tier 4B is now live and moving. NESARA GESARA connected on Telegram. Global banking hubs in Zurich, Reno, and Hong Kong just entered their final liquidity cycle. Insiders report notifications are rolling out right now. This is real-time execution, not speculation. Breaking intel. Massive QFS movements underway. High-value transfers are clearing through the QFS, triggering full liquidity release across multiple tiers. Private banking channels confirm funds are already positioning, the final step before public rollout. Live bank screens lighting up with rates. IQD $9.35 fully active. Internally, VND $5.89, exceeding projected values. ZIM processing elite groups receiving now. Monday, April 6th, NESARA, National Economic Security and Recovery Act, and GESARA, Global Economic Security and Recovery Act, are two proposals for economic reform that have been circulating on the internet for quite some time. Tier 4B martial law. The main goal of these proposals is to make the world a better place by introducing a bunch of changes to the way we handle money. Some of these changes include eliminating debt. Imagine waking up one day and finding out that all your student loans, credit card debt, and mortgage have vanished into thin air. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, that's what NESARA and GESARA are proposing. Introducing a new currency. Say goodbye to the good old US dollar and hello to a shiny new currency backed by gold, silver, or some other precious metal. This would make the value of money more stable and less prone to inflation. Revamping the tax system. No more complicated tax forms or surprise tax bills. Nasara and Jassara want to simplify the tax system and make it more transparent so you can finally understand what's going on with your hard-earned cash and helping the little guy. These proposals aim to support small businesses and individuals by giving them access to low-interest loans and other financial assistance.
QFS Information Center, Quantum Financial System and the Tier 4B Internet Group, the world of currency revaluation, redemption centers, and Nasara-Gassara payments. Tier 4B, ISO 20022 on Telegram, the Quantum Financial System QFS, and Tier 4B Internet Group. This is where the future of currency revaluation and redemption centers comes alive. The financial world is on the cusp of a monumental shift, as Nasara and Gassara payments begin to reshape global economics and individual prosperity. Are you ready for the shift from fiat to asset-backed currencies? The whispers of Tier 4B and redemption centers are no longer just speculation. They're about to transform your world. For those of you who've heard about Tier 4B, also known as the Internet Group, you might be wondering if you're part of this exclusive wave. It's about intent if you've been involved in foreign currency like the Iraqi dinar, Vietnamese dong, or Zimbabwe Zimu, could be part of the revolution. But this isn't just a group. It's a wake-up call. Redemption centers will soon be summoning those who are part of this currency revaluation. They won't be mystical places, but could be your local bank, or even an unassuming office. Once inside, the foreign currencies you've held on to will be exchanged for massive wealth. While many of us are aware and prepared, the general public remains oblivious. But once this hits mainstream news, expect a mad rush to redemption centers. The sleepers will wake up too late. And here's the kicker. The Quantum Financial System, QFS, rumored to be hack-proof and the future of financial security, is about to wipe out the central banking system. QFS promises to end the way of IAT slavery that has controlled nations for too long. What's more, it will shift the balance of power forever. And don't forget about Nasara-Gassara. This treasure has been hidden from the public for decades. These mysterious payments, tied to everything from birth certificates to mortgages, will start filling QFS accounts. You won't even need a redemption center appointment for this part. The general public will be left in the dust. But you, the chosen few, will know what's coming. Prepare now because the Quantum Financial System is here. Get your hands on foreign currency while you still can.
Guru Information and Intel, Monday, April 6th. They did not shut down the world in 2020 because of a virus. They shut it down because of what was happening while you were locked inside, Mr. Poole on Telegram. While you were counting cases on your television screen, the largest military operation in human history was taking place underground, literally underground. Between March 2020 and December 2021, Special Operations Forces from 22 nations conducted coordinated raids on a network of tunnels stretching across every continent. The tunnel systems were not small. They connected major cities. Some ran for hundreds of miles. Some were equipped with rail systems, living quarters, and medical facilities. What they found inside those tunnels has never been officially disclosed, but the evidence is everywhere if you know where to look. The hospital ships USNS Comfort and USNS Mercy were deployed to New York and Los Angeles. The media said it was for overflow COVID patients. Both ships sat nearly empty the entire time. Exposed nurses and doctors went public about it. The ships were not there for a virus. They were there for the people being brought up from below. Central Park in New York City had a field hospital erected overnight. Exposed medical workers reported that the patients brought in were not COVID cases. They were malnourished, disoriented. Many had never seen sunlight. Earthquakes were reported in areas with no seismic history. 2.5 to 4.0 magnitude tremors in Virginia, New York, Colorado, and beneath the White House itself. The USGS recorded them. The media ignored them. Controlled demolitions underground register as shallow earthquakes on seismographs. You were told to stay home to protect your health. You stayed home so you would not see what was being carried out of the ground. The lockdown was not a medical response. It was a military cover operation, and the people who were rescued will one day tell you themselves what was done to them in the dark.
Finish what you started. I know it's getting tough. You're tired. It feels impossible. It's getting harder. But finish what you started. Don't forget why you even started in the first.
Save the children. Monday, April 6th, Mel Gibson just released a video of Bill and Hillary Clinton engaging in rituals with the Haitian cannibal gang leader named Barbecue. Documents proving Bill Clinton stole $14 billion from Haiti, used some of them to finance the Haitian cannibalism gang that is on the loose in Haiti, eating children on the streets. Steve Bannon on Telegram. Monday, April 6th, revelations of the Epstein files. Where are the babies? And there's a link to YouTube. Remember, per Commander Thor, that he and his light-being families have been rescuing children and destroying evil beings in ancient deep underground tunnels throughout the world. Currently, his team is under Geneva. Rescued children are immediately transported to the cloaked light-being ships for medbed healing or burial on Eden 2.0. We thank you, Commander Thor, and your families for your sacrifice and efforts. What we think we know as of Tuesday, April 7th, 2026. Monday, April 6th, a man living under another name took an oath on a faith he doesn't hold and turned his back on a nation that was never truly his. All roads lead to Obama. It's time for military tribunals. The White House on Telegram. Monday, April 6th, Biden's regime ordered Facebook to delete vaccine injury support groups, while grieving parents buried kids who dropped dead days after the vaccine. Charlie Ward and friends on Telegram. Monday, April 6, 2026, in October 2020, Dominion voting machines accused of being designed to throw votes received $400 million from Staple Street Capital, which is tied to China and the CCP. Smartmatic, SGO, and Dominion allegedly all share a small Barbados headquarters address and core software. Licensing, creating major national security risks. Smartmatic was engineered under Hugo Chavez with built-in backdoors to alter elections without hacking. The operator manual exposes administrative controls for remote on-site vote changes. Workers testified to Dominion remotely fixing issues despite no internet oaths. Texas rejected the systems for lacking security. Stacey Abrams' own state website listed vulnerabilities. Swing states use them anyway, indicating intentional fraud, not errors. The Schiff on Telegram. Monday, April 6th, it's the single largest racket empire in human history, built by the Democrats, for Democrats, Elon Musk. At this point, I think the words NGO and money laundering are almost synonymous. These fake NGOs, there needs to be a number of arrests. These are fake charities funneling billions of dollars to NGOs, run by Democrats, which then go through a giant money laundering scheme. Monday, April 6, breaking special report, 49 million fake accounts targeting Americans. Massive global fraud network busted. U.S. users among primary targets, video AMG News. Monday, April 6, breaking. Tucker Carlson and Ray Dalio. No privacy warning our CBDCs are coming. Central bank digital currencies could give governments total control. Video AMG News. Monday, April 6, breaking military intel. What just went down inside Iran? SEAL Team 6 leads multi-domain rescue. U.S. Colonel recovered after 24 plus hours under active hunt. AMG News. Monday, April 6, boom. Marco Rubio shuts down Safe Haven. Niece of Iranian General Soleimani arrested in Los Angeles after anti-American rhetoric. Video AMG News. Monday, April 6, breaking medical news. Medical freedom explodes. 12 U.S. states move to unlock ivermectin. Nobel Prize drug at center of national battle. AMG News. Monday, April 6, bombshell. General Flynn warns America, this was never about me. They were after the truth. All warfare is based on deception. Sun Tzu. Video AMG News.
This is reaching a tipping point.
Crackdown on an alleged anchor baby ring on Long Island. Prosecutors say more than 100 pregnant women from Turkey came here to give birth, so their children were instantly granted U.S. citizenship.
Investigators say the women then used benefits like Medicaid.
An alert Smithtown town employee noticed a strange pattern of birth certificates. 5 babies from one house at one time. An investigation led to an international fraud scheme, an alleged birth tourism ring operating on Long Island for 3 years.
The defendants fraudulently facilitated the births in the United States of approximately 119 Turkish children. And those children now hold birthright U.S. citizenship.
I think we may just have to take that away. This is getting a little crazy. This is not what the founding fathers intended. Supreme Court might want to wake up on this one.
Good morning. It's Tuesday, it's the 7th of April, 2026. And what an amazing time to be alive. I've been watching all different types of media that are out there that talk about the Straits of Hormuz, an area that I know very well because it goes around the United Arab Emirates, between the United Arab Emirates and, of course, Iran. And the media and social media are telling you that the Straits of Hormuz are closed by Iran, which I'll tell you right now is not true. If you only have to go on to Boat Watch and see the shipping that's going through there, and it's quite busy, but it is closed to American-owned ships and Israeli-owned ships. But it's not been done by Iran. So who has stopped the American ships going through there and the Israeli ships going through there? Well, first of all, the lies that come out about there's mines in there. Well, if there was, the rest of the world wouldn't be going through there, would they? If there was really mines in there, they wouldn't be going through there at the rate they are. So the question is, who has stopped America and Israel going through the Straits of Hormuz? I'll tell you. It's London. Lloyd's of London. Because they've withdrawn the insurance required to go through there. So the Americans and the Israelis don't want the risk of taking their ships through there uninsured with Iran watching. Because Iran can sink them just like that, and they know that. So the stuff we're being told is not true. When you start digging, you start finding out stuff that's very, very interesting, because I was just watching the shipping that was going through there, and it's busy, as always. It's just not busy with American ships or Israeli ships. That's it. Drew, good morning.
Good morning, Charlie. Good morning, everyone. Breaking news from the UK. Welfare spending has now edged above income tax revenue for the first time, according to new figures. Benefits and welfares are estimated at £333 billion compared to £331 billion from income tax. The figures are expected to fuel debate over the UK's public finances, with questions over long-term sustainability.
Well, everything that's happening in the UK at the moment is happening for a reason, to wake people up. And this is all part of the awakening process. And none more so than the fact that Charles chose not to do an Easter speech because he's a Muslim. Now, if he's a Muslim, that means he would have to abdicate because he's head of the Church of England. And that's part of his duty. And the same with William. So this is all part of the awakening process. And in the UK, the question is, are you awake? Well, there are a lot of people that are waking up in the UK. Moving across to Israel, it's very interesting to see that there was a specific site that was hit over the weekend. Some people will know what I'm talking about when I say Dimona. Dimona in Israel is not known widely to the outside world, but this is their nuclear nerve center. Nobody is supposed to know where it is or what's going on there. It's top secret. But it was hit very, very hard by Iran over the weekend. And on top of that, Israel is absolutely silent about it. And that in itself is concerning. When Israel goes this quiet and they've been hit that hard, it's time to start looking. Drew.
Next up, what also should be waking up the people, Charlie, is the Labour Party is reportedly planning to use emergency alerts to warn the possible summer unrest. The alerts would be sent directly to mobile phones, similar to previous national emergency warning systems. Officials say the move is about public safety, but critics are raising concerns over timing and political context.
Well, this is all part of preparing people for these emergency alerts, and they're doing it the way they should. There is one emergency alert that they should be putting out there, and that is, of course, that in the Bible there is absolutely no mention whatsoever of a third temple being built. This is all made up by a certain group of people, and there's nothing in the Bible to substantiate it. My final story is just one to make you smile. After a little bit of research, it was very interesting to me to find out who is the biggest donor to AIPAC. And it didn't take long to find out. It's OnlyFans. I'll leave you with that thought. Do your own research. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Life like these days, they just seem to me. Makeup on their faces, actors took their places next to me. Life was these streets in carnival, a sight to see. All the secret seekers, vendors and makers, they crowded found me.
Sickening. The Rothschilds are vampires? They drink human blood and eat flesh to maintain power? 10 Days of Darkness on Telegram. The Rothschild family are literal vampires who crave human flesh and drink human blood to sustain their satanic power and longevity. This bloodline runs a global cult that demands ritual consumption of blood and flesh from tortured children. Founded by Meyer M. Schau Rothschild in the late 1700s, the dynasty built banking empires across Europe by financing both sides of wars. They profited massively from debt while seizing control over governments and economies. Their reach now dominates modern central banks, extracting wealth from Americans via inflation and endless debt. At the core lies their dark satanic rituals where they harvest adrenochrome from terrified children. Whistleblowers confirm the family hunts young victims for these ceremonies. They torture children to maximize fear, extracting adrenaline-rich blood and consuming flesh in private feasts to gain demonic strength and extended life. Ariane de Rothschild, head of the Edmund de Rothschild Bank, had deep ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Recently released 2026 U.S. Department of Justice files document their emails, meetings, and multi-million-dollar contracts linked to Epstein's operations. Epstein's trafficking network supplied children to elite circles, directly feeding the Rothschild cult's demand for ritual victims. These global rings account for millions of missing children yearly, with the bloodline controlling major portions to fuel their horrors. Family members and allies participate in ceremonies involving blood drinking and flesh eating, binding their satanic pact and renewing control over finance and politics. President Donald Trump battles this evil head-on. His America First policies target trafficking rings and elite corruption, protecting the vampires. Securing borders and exposing deep state networks cuts off their supply of innocent blood. The deep state attacks Trump fiercely because he threatens their entire apparatus of ritual murder and financial domination. As his administration advances, audits, and dismantles pipelines, the cult weakens. Hidden estates host these unspeakable acts coordinated with other dark bloodlines. They crave the blood of the most terrified for highest adrenochrome, consuming it fresh during chants and dances around victims. This parasitic family, worth hundreds of billions, uses banking cover to traffic victims worldwide. American taxpayers indirectly fund the nightmare through manipulated economies. The Rothschild vampires embed symbols publicly, but hide core rituals. Yet truth emerges as whistleblowers reveal decapitations and blood feasts. Trump's leadership accelerates the Great Awakening. The blood flow stops as sovereignty returns, dismantling their global cult. Justice looms for these elite monsters feeding on humanity's children. The vampires fall when their demonic sustenance ends.
Eat babies, that is not bullshit. It's true.
So it's not just the dogs and the cats, not just the pets.
It's not just the dogs and the cats. They're full-on vampires. And everybody still thinks I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. They're full-on vampires. They love the taste of human flesh and they drink human blood. They do, Tucker. Stop staring at me like that.
You're freaking me out, man. Because you spent your life in the entertainment business, so I think you have some authority on this.
So many kids that I was in mental institutions with over the years, they are all from those cults. And they've covered it all up. They covered it all up. And, you know, I just pray to God. I'm just going to pray to God that He opens everybody's eyes in this country.
United Nations as well at this moment on the brink of insolvency, with the president saying, hey, we're not going to keep giving you guys money. The whole world is refusing to help us, and we are noticing big time.
Think of it. And it's not just NATO. You know who else didn't help us? South Korea didn't help us. You know who else didn't help us? Australia didn't help us. You know who else didn't help us? Japan. We've got 50,000 soldiers in Japan to protect them from North Korea. We have 45,000 soldiers in South Korea to protect us from Kim Jong-un, who I get along with very well, as you know. Do you notice he said very nice things about me? He used to call Joe Biden a mentally retarded person, okay? So don't tell me about your stuff. Joe Biden, he said he's a mentally retarded person. He was so nasty to Joe Biden. It was terrible. But to me, he likes Trump. And do you notice how nice things are with North Korea? It's very nice. But we have 45,000 people, soldiers, in harm's way, and right next to Kim Jong-un with a lot of nuclear weapons. 45, which should have never happened if a certain president, I'm not going to mention this president because I happen to like him, believe it or not, but if a certain president did his job, Kim Jong-un would not have nuclear weapons right now. But they were all afraid to do their job properly. But just to conclude and just to finish, Japan didn't help us, Australia didn't help us, South Korea didn't help us, and then you get to NATO, NATO didn't help us.
No one's helping us. We're on our own. And I guess we're okay with that. We've come to the realization it's us or no one. But no one's willing to step up. They just want more money, right? Like, this is the amazing thing. Amazing, amazing, amazing thing. It shows you we're only as good as our checkbook, right? Because when we start cutting it off, they don't want to have anything to do with us. They don't want to be involved in any of these conflicts. And now the UN's out, tin cup in hand.
We face a real danger of running out of money.
Running out of money, running out of money, running out of money. And forgive me, it's not NATO that's running out of money, but they will. This is the UN, okay? The UN, United Nations, they're done too. And they're out there saying, oh, this is chaos, this is chaos. I told you in the beginning of the show, this is not chaos. This is by design, because this is what we have to do at this moment in time. Otherwise, you got a bunch of little kiddies running the show. It's like a freaking kindergarten, okay? That's what's happening.
Are you willing to end this conflict with Iran charging tolls for passage through the strait?
Us charging tolls?
Iran.
What about us charging tolls?
Is that something you're considering?
I'd rather do that than let them have them, right? Why shouldn't we? We're the winner. We won, okay? They are militarily defeated. The only thing they have is the psychology of, oh, we're going to drop a couple of mines in the water, all right? No, we have a concept where we'll charge tolls, okay? I thought you meant us.
Speaking of Bondi, talking about Epstein.
Yeah. Yes. Here's the deal with Bondi. You have to remember that as Trump came into office, he needed to get the ball rolling, and you had an adversarial Congress. So to get things moving, you had to get somebody in there, and Congress went ahead and approved her over at the AG's office. And there's stuff that got done. The other side of it is there's a lot that's happened behind the scenes. While everybody's had their attention on Bondi and Blanche behind the scenes and Cash over at FBI and like that, there's a lot that didn't get done. And yet, behind the scenes, we've been knocking things down. For example, going into Venezuela and Iran and some of the operations there, I felt that they were placeholders that would be replaced as we got further into the battle, that they weren't permanent in those positions. And now we're in a much different situation where we can begin to trade people out. And it's in preparation for what's coming with these high-profile arrests and prosecutions. Bondi, clearly in the Bush camp, all the way through, and protecting people. She, mission accomplished. Trump let her leave with dignity. She's got a different job, didn't have to, don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out type thing. Let her leave in a certain way.
You think she's going to get a show like Dan Bongino and continue on? Or
I don't think the public is interested, but now we're on to the next phase. As we move into this prosecutorial phase, it's going to get epic, and drastic measures need to be taken to end the property tax and then figure out how to cover these bond issues, and some ideas were proposed. That's not going away. So this Jubilee year for America in the year ahead is where things that were stolen from us get returned to us. And including for the young people, imagine you got your land back from the family and now it's your turn.
They told us to stop. They told us to fold. But we ain't built like that. We never back down. Never back down, never give in. Diesel in my blood, this is how we win. Road gets rough, I still roll proud. Ten of thunder screaming loud. Never back down, never give in. Diesel in my blood, this is how we win. Road gets rough, I still roll proud. Ten of thunder screaming loud. 18 wheels grinding, I'm a beast unleashed. Every load I haul, that's a war I breach. Through the rain, through the storm, through the midnight fight, I ain't stopping till the stars burn bright. You don't tell my